Welcome to Coffee Talk, everybody. It is an exciting morning. It is a fall morning, and the noises you hear in the background are either the sirens off in the distance, the Zamboni going around in the arena there, or maybe even Jeff's teeth chattering, because we decided this morning to come out to a shady fall-like courtyard, because last Sunday in our section of Daniel there was a great banquet.
Yes.
And we were not only reflecting on Daniel, but we were reflecting on the great banquets of Lakeview past, which none of us were a part of. And that sounds like a Dickens tale, doesn't it? As I say it, I'm just like, if I could go back in time and pitch it to Charles Dickens, there you go. A tale of great banquets past. Anyways, because we were at what was the West Kelowna City Hall, and before that, was it the Mount Boucherie Community Hall or the Lakeview Heights Community Hall? It was a community center.
Yeah, it was a community center, especially for the Lakeview Heights area, because you had the Lions Hall for years, which was kind of the West Bank Town Hall, maybe.
Sure.
But here, this was kind of the Boucherie Community Center, and it just was a big building, right? And then kind of added on was Royal LePage Place, but Jim Lynn been around for a while too. But if you were a part of Lakeview in those years, you know, like late 90s through the early 2000s, this is where Christmas banquet was held quite often. So there'd be an event at church, you know, possibly on Sunday morning or something like that, and then on the Sunday night, or you know, throughout the week or something like that, this is where Christmas would be, and there would be, like, you know, really fancy affair, you know, shirt, suit, tie, everything, and there was a stage here, so there's lots of music and
Wow.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, which I'm quite confident I can say this, the pastors, though, did not bring any golden sacred items.
No, we didn't
to eat
take
on,
anything
drink out of
that we had stolen from other churches.
Right.
Or something.
What you miss is in the early afternoon we raid Emmanuel and we take all their communion trays. And,
it's funny that we both thought of Emmanuel as our enemy.
Not just you know,
Love you,
rival. Anyways,
Phil.
It's all before then. But we do want to, thinking through. I often, when I listen to the sermons, will think through, okay, what are some ways that, in a session like this, right, where we talk about a prescribed sin of an individual, I'm like, what are some ways that manifests for us?
Yeah.
Because I, as we joke about, have not gone raiding and pillaging and stolen sacred, but what you emphasized again and again was the way pride was the sin. And then that makes me think about, okay, so what are some of the ways that we today struggle with pride? Which actually took me to Lakeview's values statements. Right? And I didn't think you were expecting us to go there, but as we've spent time, and we haven't talked about this a whole lot yet, but as leadership, talking about what's really important to Lakeview. And one of the things, besides sharing life together, which we've talked about for many years, but in all of that is we talk about a sincere curiosity. And when you read through what we mean by that, we talk about humility, we talk about listening, and we talk about, and tied up in that is an actual love for another person, so that we would ask questions of them to get to know them, not to get to understand how to rebuttal them. So that's one of the things that's swirling around in my head. And I'm going to get to a question for you guys, though, all right, since you're on edge.
I like it. That's great.
Right. So that's when so we have that, which I think is an antidote to pride. Right? Is that idea that we actually just want to caringly be inquisitive of people, not to pry, not to like, okay, how can I figure out how to show them, but just to sort of say, oh, where are you coming from? What's your life been like? What led you to that? What are your experiences? How do you see this differently from me? Because I think one of the real challenges in society, regardless of what end of the spectrum of society or politics, whatever you're on, the thing that seems most likely to be agreed upon is that we're too divided. Right? It seems to be the one thing we can all say is everybody's too divided. So how do we counter that divide? Because I think pride is in there. That we kind of go, I'm not willing to listen to what anybody else has to say. And I think that's what I've been wrestling with the last few days does that show up in me where I'm not willing to listen to what others have to say? And that is pride. Or am I willing to humbly go, oh, let me listen to tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Is such a great question. And Jeff, I want to say, I've heard you say that again and again in meetings and things, right?
Oh.
Tell me more about that. Because I think that is a bit of an antidote to pride. So, and I do think there's a couple reasons why we get stuck in that, right? One of it is we either assume that we know what the person's going to say, that prevents us from really listening, or we just lack a real genuine love. And so I guess my question is there other things that lead to that pride of not listening? And is there other examples that you guys can think of where that pride of Nebuchadnezzar and Belshazzar kind of, rises up in our world today?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so real light question
really
for this
good.
morning as you're sipping your tea or coffee and pondering the loveliness of fall. But
Just to follow off of what you were saying, you may have mentioned this, but maybe not in these words, but part of that is I'm right, you're wrong. Right?
Totally. I didn't quite get there, but yes.
But I would just maybe keep going on your
it's
train
that,
of thought.
No, you're right. It's that I'm not willing. We either listen just to respond as a kind of, or it's because we don't actually want to entertain the possibility that I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so we are just so certain, and it's not that we should live, I think, as if we can never know anything, but I do think in there needs to be an openness that if we were found out to be wrong, what would we do with that?
Yeah, which is very humbling, right? And
but it's also scary, and so I understand that for anybody struggling with that, it is intimidating and scary. But yeah.
So I would wonder how much of a, I think the word is continuum, this is. So like here at the beginning, as an individual, you have this desire and this need for like self-preservation and take care of your, that's actually a good thing. I get up, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, these are taking care of me, okay, I might go for a run or something like that, things that are taking care of me, eating food, all these things. And then it seems like you kind of head down that line, and these things that are good and normal to take care of ourselves, they amplify, and then it kind of almost morphs and crosses this line into, okay, where does that become selfishness? Because then it is all about me and the things that, well, no, I am going to do this thing because it's what I want, and then you kind of start to say it's more about me than everybody as a whole that needs all these things. Then it seems like it kind of goes along that path, and it seems like once you're headed way down that path, it seems like pride is simply unrelentlessness in the wrong direction, right? And it's almost like it's like that sense of self-preservation, right? So like when we look at this, whether he was being self-preservationistic or whether like you said, maybe he was like throwing a party for all these 10 different possible reasons. Either way, he was kind of heading this direction, and even until he saw that writing on the wall, which obviously stopped him in his tracks, but up until that point, it's possible that maybe he had been challenged on a lot of things, in the way that he was heading, to the point where he thought that he was, he wasn't going to be deterred by anything or anyone, no matter how much they challenged him, until he had almost like this otherworldly experience of seeing this hand on the wall. Which I think there's a whole other that's a whole other set of questions of what does that look like? But it had to be supernatural in order to get his attention, because he was so far down this road. He was so unrelenting of seeing where his path was taking him, that he actually had to change his whole mindset, even just to be able to hear and have the presence of mind to say, Daniel, tell me what you think, right? But up until that point,
right. And we would never want for anyone in our church to need divine intervention from God before they would ever listen to someone else. And I think most of us would go, okay, I'm not there. but how do we, anything else to respond, Jeff, before we?
Well, no, I think that's great. I guess I would just clarify. We all need divine intervention.
Well, but I mean,
but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like this extreme, yeah.
We could also
just in
say
case somebody
God
was-
has already
yeah.
intervened
Yes,
over
yes.
and over and over.
That's all.
But I
That-
mean, like a
that was just-
further.
I knew what you meant, but in case it was taken wrong or
Yeah.
differently, I wanted to clarify that we don't mean that. But no, the pride thing, when we're so certain that we're right, or like pride is actually, I think you said it pretty well. It's either trusting myself more than someone else, seeking things for myself more than someone else. Like it's always self above, I think, And man, that comes in so many subtle forms. Like what you were saying was so awesome. It's a way that we don't recognize sometimes.
Yeah, I think one of the tools that might be helpful for us is to simply ask the question of, how open are we to listening to contradicting opinions, right? Like, if everything I read or all the podcasts I listen to basically tell me what I already think, then it's possible, and I'm not going to say it is this way, but it's possible that we actually are continuing in that prideful vein. Or if we're actually willing to go, okay, because I want to, just to understand, where is the other side coming from? Not to sort of, even if we don't go, oh, I might need to learn, but just where are they coming from? What is it about? Where are they? So that we're just listening.
No, it's.
I thought it was interesting, right? When we had, I won't name names, but when someone came in to our office with a stack of books they read, and they're like, oh, they kind of all said the same thing. And I go, okay, that happens a lot, right? Not adding any kind of value judgment on that, but just that happens so often, where I look at my shelf and I go, everything agrees. There's always that, whenever, like I think of the toothpaste, 4 to 5 dentists agree. Like, maybe we need more of that one. That 1/5 of dentists, just to kind of go, have you considered this?
Right.
And if we kind of consider it and then go, no, that's not right, then that's fine. But at least we've considered it. And then when we do that, I think we create a more lovingly humble environment to speak into people's lives too. And there's
even if we are not changed, like even if it doesn't sway us, it helps us understand, helps us care for, love,
Which is. Go ahead.
Well, because I think that's actually the important part about humility. Because our world sees it as a pushover, a doormat, everything like that. But to be confidently humble, I think actually is what we're kind of aiming for, because Christ knew where he was headed, he knew his direction, he knew all these things, and he called his followers to be that. But he did not necessarily call them to be doormats. He said, you will stand before kings and you will have the right thing to say. There will be this sense of confidence, but it's going to come from an attitude of servanthood, of humility, and all these things. So there's like this need to be self-assured in, this is my direction, this is where I'm headed, not in a prideful way, which is so quickly, immediately the first thing, but like, if I can be confident in the fact that I need to be humble, it kind of keeps us from I think the misunderstanding happening of what humility actually is, right?
So I guess one of the questions in my mind, and I think I have an answer, but I'll let you guys speak first, is what keeps us from that?
Parenting?
From humility. Because we're just so tired and busy and overwhelmed and dealing with our kids' stuff.
No, I think I've heard it thousands of times, and one time in a sermon there was a pastor who said, I never thought I was a selfish person until I became a parent. And then you realize how much, kind of like that continuum, where I find myself on there of no, this is my time, this is my thing, and we have that sense of, this is about me, and then realizing, no, actually, your whole being needs to be raising this child up, to be making disciples of this person, and so teaching them humility first, I think, is of utmost importance.
Okay, so just to summarize then, you'd say selfishness is one of them. I'm just trying to say it loud because there's truck noise in the background, and succinctly, but
It's like somebody testing their carburetor. You know?
You're going louder.
we're
I'll
really,
go louder.
really testing our patience this morning. Oh, and it's a paper shredder too, of all things. It's beautiful. All right, Jeff, do you want to add to that?
There's so much that so many roads we could go down. I like it. Like, yeah, selfishness. I guess maybe reflection, self-reflection. Do we self-reflect?
Okay,
Where
so a
can I-
lack of self-reflection.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah.
The one that comes to mind, I totally agree with everything you guys have said. I think there's probably, we could make a big list of things that
Exactly.
we could watch out for. I think fear is one that creeps in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm afraid that I might be led astray, so therefore I won't go anywhere near anything that could be wrong.
Yeah.
And so I do think fear is a big part of it, or even just fear that I was wrong for however many years, and I'm not sure I
Don't
can
wanna
handle the
admit that.
consequences
Yeah.
and admit that,
Mhm.
which is, so I'm afraid of being humbled. So I think that's at least a couple ways that fear plays a part in this, on top of selfishness and lack of
Yes.
self-reflection, and the fact that all of this
So
just
good.
takes time and
Yeah.
and everything else that goes on. But there's a lot there, I think, to work through.
Yeah. Contemplate.
Just like we have every single week. So if you're running a tally of everything you need to do, don't.
Yeah.
Because it really, just to get back to it, it's about being with Jesus.
Yeah.
And letting
Yeah.
him,
Come to
in
him.
cooperation with the Spirit,
Which is why
be working through this.
we always end with, it's all about Jesus, you know?
It's all about Jesus.
Yeah. It's good.
And speaking of Jesus, this is the last Sunday to sign up for the Kingdom of Heaven Living class. So go to the link to sign up, get more information, and why wait till Sunday? Do it today.
Yeah.
You can get on that, and because that's going to be starting real soon.
Yeah.
Really
The week
soon.
after this Sunday. Wow.
And Jeff, you had a big announcement on Sunday.
Yes.
You want to just kind of share that here?
It's actually Lori's announcement, but
It is, but you shared it
I shared
because
it.
we know how much
Yeah,
Lori
yeah.
loves coming on camera.
Lori, our office administrator, is accepting a position in the arts field, music director, school. She is the executive director of a music school. And so we're excited for her, but that means there's a position available at the church, office administrator position. So if you're interested, you can go here and find out a little bit more, and let me or the office know that you're interested.
Beauty.
And then, this weekend is Thanksgiving, which is quite fantastic. So we will be stuffing ourselves, possibly. Some of us will be saying, maybe I should have some restraint. But if you have had some restraint, great. So then you can also have some time together with some friends as well too. So next Friday night is a women's event, just a gathering, kind of a fall time together, have some apple pie, and just be together and just enjoy some great conversation, and more details here on the screen. But women, you can plan on that, put that into your calendar, and you can ask questions here.
Beauty. Well, as Kevin said, it's Thanksgiving this weekend, so may you do everything with thanks. And thanks, of course, for spending time with us out in the fall courtyard, but especially when we get to meet in person, and we'll connect in face-to-face real soon.